All right, so it begins rigging on the new Caracal STS. It's exciting, but yes, I'm not in the shop. I'm heading into Lowe's because I've got to get my list of stuff. Got my list of screws, nuts, bolts, got some sample screws in there. So we're gonna go in here. I'll give you a couple tips on the right stuff to buy, and then we'll get into the shop and get after it. All right, so when you walk in, you don't want to go down there. You want to go right here to where you see that word stainless steel. Stainless steel is the deal. And then, you want to be like, all right, I need more of these, but I need them shorter. I'm gonna go and make sure I'm getting the right size. So that one is a 1/4 20 thread. So I went over here and I found the 1/4 20 threads. I wanted a little shorter ones, so this is what I got right here. So that's how you do. I got a whole list of stuff I'm gonna go through, but that's what you make sure you get stainless steel. All right, so just getting back from the Lowe's where I got screwed. I got screws and bolts and nuts. So I got bolted and nutted as well. But we're gonna work on this bad boy, the new Caracal STS. We're actually gonna rig it. Gonna get started here maybe today, but next couple days we're gonna get this thing knocked out. I just wanna show you again the lithiums. I'd like to put the batteries in first. That was what I got part of this for. I'm gonna use them as cushions in the bottom of the battery trays. I like to do that with the lithiums. They recommend that, some sort of little pad in there. So I'm gonna try that this year. The batteries don't weigh 30 pounds each, so this is all I've got. Little plastic battery trays. It seems to hold them down just fine. Use the same ones the last 2 years. So we're gonna go ahead and get that going. I'll show you what it looks like in the back of the boat, and then kind of why I'm gonna put the batteries where they are gonna go. Then we'll get into the depth finders and rearranging some stuff at the console. We'll do that after that. Do the depth finders up front, then we'll do the console, and then I'll have to show you a different video with the fish along, but that will also go in the back. But I'll show you part of my battery arrangement is gonna be because of the fish along. So I'm gonna get my jacket off and try to get started here a little bit today, and we'll give you the next update once I get these bad boys going in here. All right, there's my batteries over there, and then I've got the two lids off. When the Bass Cat makes it so nice, you can work on your stuff like this. And then I'm kind of just laying everything out. You know the old saying, measure twice, cut once. So I've got my steering off, and I'll show you a little bit of that later. I was just trying to figure out exactly how that's going to work for my console mount and all that kind of stuff. I've got a lot of work to do there. And then up there in the front, I've got I've got everything kind of off up there. So that's kind of what phase I'm in right now. And just showing you what's going to go on. I'm going to put the 12 volt lithium on that side. I'm going to put the 36 volt lithium on that side. You can see I've cut the pads to kind of go down into the bottom. I have not mounted those yet. I'm just kind of looking where those terminal covers are. That's where my fish lung is going to go. Like I said, separate video on that. Then we're going to have the unibody for the fish lung right there. I don't have it mounted in there. That's just what it mounts on. I'll do a whole, like I said, whole separate video on that. I'm going to put the power pole charge over there. That's where it's been the last couple years, but this is a Caracal STS, not the Puma STS. Still plenty of room to put the charge over there, and then before I mount it, you won't really be able to see, but I like to put some sort of rubber washers under each of the screws on the charge. I think that's important to reduce the vibration, gets it up off of that bottom a little bit, and lets those lets that heat sink on the bottom of that charge cool a little bit better. I've just had good luck with that. And then on this side over here, we've got nothing. I had the fish lung unibody there in the Puma STS, but on this one, that's where I'm gonna put my tools. So if you've got three batteries, you're going to have the fish along no problem. If you have 4 full-size batteries in your boat, it's going to be a little more difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and get these batteries installed. Bass Cat has the terminals. These are the terminals for, you know, the 12 volt. Everything's already connected. And then back in yonder way, you see where the 36 volt. So it's pretty simple, just a matter of kind of getting it all spaced out, looking at where I want to put it. And so I'm going to go ahead and get these mounted and get the power pole charge mounted, get it all connected. I'll kind of go over that here next. All right, so I'm knee deep in rigging. And so we got the charge. We got the charge mounted. It is nice and secure over there. Got my rubber washers under there. We've got all these wires and leads to connect. And definitely, when you're hooking up your charge, consult your owner's manual for that. Make sure you hook it up correctly. I'm going to show you how I hook mine up to the configuration that I have, but everybody's configuration may be a little bit different, probably is. And one other thing is that you've got to set that power pole charge up in the app. I do a whole video on that. Type in John Cruz power pole charge. You'll probably see, I did a couple videos on that, but I'll kind of give you a quick preview of that. And then between my legs, I've got the big 12 volt and we got the big 36 volt connected and strapped down. Now we got to just connect this all up and then get it cleaned up. So make sure it's nice and neat. Then we'll be done with connecting the batteries. I'll show you once I get it all connected. And you'll see in that video, that you need, on the 36 volt side, all 3, if you have a 36 volt single battery, which I do, all 3 leads go to that one battery there. And then you're going to jump in there, get on the app, get on the charge app, and then configure that thing. So if you have, let's say, a 36 volt battery that's 50 amp hours, like 50 amps per bank, you're going to type in there 150. It's the total amperage of your 36 volt side. So if you have 3 100 amps, you'll type in 300. So on mine, it's a 65 amp per bank on my 36 volt. So I'm going to type in, that's right, 215. So we're going to type that in. Make sure check your math. My 6 a.m. math here is not good, but go ahead and just whatever your total is, tap. That's what's going to go in a 36 volt side. Know what your other side is. Know what your 12 volt side is. Type that is 215. I'm going to type 215 on that. I'm going to double check my math on the 36 volt side before I configure this bad boy. Then we'll jump to the next step. 65 times 3 is 195. So that's what I'm going to type in my app here. So you can see the firmware update is what comes up. You want to update that firmware. Go ahead and do that now when you first hook up to it. Then you're going to see this. Once that's done, you'll see this screen right here. The very first screen that you come to. When you're going to configure, you're going to go to configure your app, go to the cranking battery, select lithium. Then you'll be able to type in the cranking amps right here on this screen. You type in 215 right there. Once you type in 215, you'll hit enter. Then you'll scroll down. You'll see where you've already done that. You see the 215 right there. Now you're going to go down to the trolling, select trolling, and then lithium. Then you can type in that 195 amp that I had so hard computing earlier. And that is set to go. Then you're going to go to this screen. You'll see that, once you hit accept, then you'll see 215 crank, lithium, 195 lithium on the trolling side. Then you're going to updating charger configuration. This takes just a minute, pretty quick, no big deal right there. And then you're going to want to see this screen, successful charger battery configuration updated. That is key. To see that, you hit OK. Then you're going to jump back to that initial screen, and then you can see exactly what's going on. You're connected, you're updated, you're powered on, and all that. All right, we got her all tidy. There's the 36 volt, there's the 12 volt. Got the charge connected to it. There's the charge cord. It actually is connected to the charge. I've got it run up under here so that it comes out of the middle is what I'll do. If the cover's on, I'll, you know, have it hanging out like that. And then I don't like the end of it to be dangling down at the bottom of the boat and get all wet. So I'll make it long enough so that it'll just sit right there, and that's where it does. It'll just sit right on top of the gas tank. And then one other cool thing I wanted to show you is that with the Lithium Pros, it's all about safety. They have hands down the best brain in the lithium game, and with the brain, with any of them, they will occasionally go to sleep if you don't leave them connected, if they get too low of a charge, if it's too cold, etc. If you want to wake that deal up, there's a couple ways to do it. But now with Lithium Pros, they've just come out with, they have a little, this is just a little magnet. This is not, there's nothing special about this. You can do it with any magnet. And they have a spot on the battery, like right on the top, that you can put this, any little magnet, and wake it back up without having to do anything super fancy with it. So pretty cool little feature. Again, Lithium Pros, safe, gonna keep you safe with the lithium technology. Okay, now that we got everything done in the battery compartment, we went ahead and put the lids back on. The only thing we're gonna do later on is we're gonna do that fish lung. We'll do a whole separate video about that. But I thought that I was gonna start on the console, and as you can see, I've started with some wiring, started pulling everything up through the clam holes, but I'm running into some issues with the steering over here. I need to be able to get under where the steering column is, and it's really kind of being a pain. So I'm gonna jump forward and work on the front. If you wanna look up here, you can see that this is, I got to get all this wiring done for the MBT unit, and for, you can see here, the MBT unit's going to go right here. This big old sucker. The 12-inch Garmin's going to go here. I've got the clam open. I've got to hook up the power to everything. So I like laying everything out. Yeah, these are the two wires that are going to go from the Garmin unit in the back to the MBT unit on the front. And just so you guys know, the Garmin unit is really, the MBT unit is a mirroring unit for the Garmin. It does all the capabilities. So you need to have a Garmin 8600 unit in the back. You can have all the capabilities of that unit on the one in the front, and they're going to be networked together. I'll go over that a little bit again, but this is my next step. I'm going to go ahead and get all the electronic stuff hooked up to the power at the console and up here. That's my next step. It's going to be, and then I'm going to kind of get everything tucked away, and then I'll get these units mounted. Then I'm going to tackle that later. That might be another whole video, but this is what I'm going to do next. All right, I'm in the midst of hooking up all this electrical. I just want to show you, Bass Cat runs 6-gauge wire all the way up here to the front. 6 like that's what you run a trolling motor on, but they got that up to the front. They've got 10-gauge wire running all the way up here. They have 2 10 gauges coming off. One I'm gonna have to my live scope. You've got the option to put a switch right here so you can turn your sonar on and off. I used that last year for the 360. I'm not gonna have 360 this year, so I'm not gonna use that. I'm gonna have my live scope going straight to the battery, but actually it's straight to the back. It is on the master breaker, so that's good. But I just went ahead and I put the two. I'm gonna have my live scopes in the rod locker. I'll show you that here shortly. But I've got my 2 live scope power leads coming up the rod locker, and I'm gonna be connecting it here to this main power. Again, in the back, the master power, when it turns off everything, including this. So that's what I want to use. These handy. I like this, and I'm going to put it right here. And that one with the tooth on it, what that tooth does is it crimps these connections to where they will not come out. So as long as you have enough of the wire fed in there, you crimp that bad boy down hard as you can. Then you're gonna get that little tooth mark in there. You'll pull on both of them, make sure they're rock hard, tight. Britt Myers showed me to use these like, I don't know, 20 years ago. And for all your electrical connections, they stay locked up. And I think if anybody knows, Britt Myers is gonna know, whether it's boats or cars, whatever. But we have, so I'm gonna connect the power next, and then I'm gonna start connecting the power for the negative side. Pull those live scope, the powers back through. I'm gonna have my Garmin and my MBT power. I'm gonna connect them straight to this block right here. Do that. I'm not gonna show you every single connection, but I'm gonna have that, and then I've got to run the transducer wire and the network cable. Run that through there with my little trusty fish tape, and then that'll be pretty much everything. And then I'll tidy everything back up, and then all we have to do is mount the mount for the MBT and the 12-inch Garmin. All right, so we got everything, all the electrical done up here. Got the two live scope transducers ready to be run on the move. Got all the power cables, all the connections are here, and then the foot pedal and everything is there. So that is very good. Now we've just got all the stuff in there to connect to the live scopes. I'm going to mount those right there in the rod locker, and then we're going to go ahead and run everything up to the console, finish up there as much as we can today. Running out of time, as always. All right, so we got all that fixed and rigged. We've got everything into the rod locker for the two live scope boxes to be mounted, and we've got everything run up here, all the Garmin stuff here, Humminbird over here. Got that steering issue I was telling you about. So it's gonna wrap up part one of our boat rigging for 2024 on this Caracal STS. I'm excited. I feel like this one is almost a little bit cleaner. Yeah, I know you saw just a pile of wires and stuff just a minute ago, but once I get it done, I think it's going to be very clean. It's going to be pretty slick. I'm excited. I've got to hook up some power under here and I got to mount power pole remote there. I think I'm going to have to move this gauge maybe down here, or move this gauge up here, and then move this gauge down here. I don't know. So that's going to be, this console is going to be a bear. That's going to probably be its own segment in the next video. But if anybody has any questions on it so far, we're going to do part 2, part 3 here. If we need to do part 3, and then of course when we put it in the water, we're going to show you all of that. So appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you at the next episode.